Hey folks, Moose here. Want to talk about the spectacular, the gorgeous, one of my favorite lenses, the 105 1.4. Now, the 105 1.4, it goes with my other arsenal of wide open lenses, the 24 1.4, the 50 1.4, is just the latest one. Now, a lot of people first ask why 105, because there's an 85 1.4, another very spectacular lens. Well, I'm shooting this video at approximately 105 millimeter focal length. The reason why I'm doing that is to give you an idea kind of why I like this lens. Now, the 85 1.4, spectacular lens, but for Moose Peterson as a photographer, the way it organizes elements in the frame, camera, background relationship, that angle of view, 85 millimeter doesn't quite fit me. It doesn't work for me. The 105, I've loved it since day one. Now, I had the 105 1.8 for a long time, an old manual focus film day kind of lens, spectacular lens. When the 105 1.4 was announced, I knew I had to have it, and it has not disappointed. I mean, look at this. Look at the sex appeal, if nothing else, right? I mean, it's just a gorgeous lens. Optically, corner to corner is spectacular. Now, a lot of people give me a bad time about the 24 1.4 video because I said I got 24 1.4 because 1.4. You know, the 24 1.4, I shoot at 1.4. I don't close it down. That's not the case with the 105 1.4. Now, the vast majority of the time, it's at 1.4, but there are times where I'm trying to tell a story, relate the elements in the foreground, background, the subject. I might close the lens down. Something I won't do with the 24 1.4 because I want that 1.4 and that wide angle lens. With the telephoto, I'll move it around a little bit. Now, I am manipulating what you're seeing because the background is so far away, it's out of focus in the video. That's kind of give you the idea and the feel of the 105 1.4. Now, it's a portrait lens. I don't use it just for portraits. I used it for many different things. Planes, statics, scenics, many different things where I want the spectacular flat field sharpness of this lens and that very narrow depth of field, its isolation. Now, one thing about using this lens, if on the day like right now, it's kind of a bright overcast, I put this up and I were to photograph like my studio audience here. He's kind of a little bit in the shade of the eave of the cabin. The shutter speed, because I'm an aperture priority, is going to go down 2,000, 1,000 a second. As soon as I move it over and I point it right at you, it's going to go 8,000. 8,000 is going to blink. If you have an older camera, it's going to say hi, not being friendly. What it's telling you is there's too much light coming in. It can't make the shutter speed fast enough to give you the right exposure. Now, you can take the ISO down to L1. That's one stop, one way of doing it. But my favorite way of doing it is with the spectacular Nikon polarizer, which on here is just a big piece of glass, sucks up 2 stops of light. Often that's all it takes for me to bring down my shutter speed to a usable number, instead of it sitting there flashing at me. So that's just one of the things whenever I grab this lens, I have the polarizer with me for that reason. So the 105 1.4, not inexpensive, okay? Why is that? Because of the 1.4 speed, it's a spectacular glass. Now, if you don't need 1.4, don't buy this lens. I would recommend the 105 2.8 macro, another very spectacular lens. Does great macro photography, flat field, almost half the price. So if you're looking for that focal length, you want it in a prime lens, you want the 1.4 only if you're going to use 1.4, a very narrow depth of field. Great lens, can't recommend it to you enough, but buy it understanding how you can use it for storytelling. 105 1.4.